Seeing right now, I think rising violence and rising gun crimes, and particularly both of those things in youth population.
Crime Tracker 10 has been following a rise in teens involved with violent crimes in Columbus and throughout Franklin County for nearly 2 years now.
Now, when a teen is arrested, a judge has to decide, will this kid be charged as an adult? Crime Tracker 10's Lacey Crisp went to the head juvenile judge to ask what goes into that decision.
This is 15-year-old Avante Solomon. This is video of him allegedly shooting into a crowd at the Glenwood Community Center in June, killing 24-year-old Ataya Nichols.
I watched my daughter take her last breath. I don't know what else to do.
The question now, should Solomon be charged as an adult? In Ohio, it's up to a judge to decide if the juvenile is younger than 16, charged with aggravated murder, or attempted murder, if that juvenile will be tried as an adult. Only certain crimes make a juvenile eligible to be bound over as an adult.
So when you personally are deciding on a discretionary bind over, what key things are you looking at?
Well, the statute lays out the factors. We're looking at the victim and the role, and whether there's factors for transfer, such as the relationship between the juvenile and the alleged victim.
In Franklin County, according to Administrative Juvenile Court Judge George Leach, bind-over admissions, or where a juvenile is charged as an adult, have decreased 78% between 2014 and 2021.
So many were coming under the wire initially under lower offenses where mostly a discretionary. And so then the movement was to try not to bind, not that the court had a movement, but the society and the looking at cases and weighing it out and considering juveniles and all factors related to it.
Leach explains judges also weigh several elements like age, criminal history, and personal history when making the decision if a child should be charged as a juvenile or an adult.
What role does public safety play in your decision whether to bind a juvenile over?
Well, I know that's a hot button term, obviously, that's going around with the Supreme Court and everything and public safety. We're always looking at, we're definitely looking at the impact on society and whether the juvenile presents a risk to society.
Securing justice and promoting community safety have to come first.
Lou Tobin is the executive director for the Ohio Prosecutors Association.
When a kid commits a carjacking or fires a gun at random and hits somebody, and they get a slap on the wrist, the lesson that they've learned is that that's not a big deal. And the lesson that other kids in the community has learned is that that's not a big deal. And I think if you let chaos explode like that, it's going to escalate and it's going to continue.
Defense attorney Sam Szymanski has represented several juveniles facing bindovers. He contends juvenile court is better equipped with programs to help the child instead of focusing on punishment.
Ohio's juvenile justice system is something the whole world can be proud of. It's terrific. And it keeps kids, it recognizes the limitations and the characteristics of children in the justice system and treats them accordingly.
What direction do you think the court should go in?
The trend should be to continue the course with probably some movement toward probation again instead of just JASIS, or back to monitoring a little more tightly.
Judge Leach argues whether the child is charged as a juvenile or an adult, at some point they will be released from custody. His concern is what will give that child the best outcome.
And it doesn't get rid of the juvenile. They're just becoming an adult, and they're going over to adult court. And so what is the future for that juvenile in the adult court system of success of rehabilitating, where we have a better chance at juvenile court to handle juveniles.
At the beginning of the story, we introduced you to 15-year-old Avante Solomon. Even neighbors explain they aren't sure what his future should be.
I don't want to see another baby die. I don't want to have another mom go through what I'm going through. I can't deal with it.
And I don't want another child locked up. I don't want another African-American child locked up.
The Franklin County Prosecutor's Office has filed the paperwork to request he is bound over and charged as an adult for his role in the Glenwood Community Center shooting. In Franklin County, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Now, there are also talks in the legislature to change the law and make all bindovers discretionary or up to the judge, regardless of the child's age.